As I say, we say slàinte, which means good health, so slàinte. So yeah, we're going to sit down and do the tour of Scotland. So this is the 3 different whiskies from 3 different regions around Scotland, and kind of take you on a little bit of a flavour journey across Scotland. So the first one you have, this is a distillery called Tomatin. It's maybe 15 miles from my local town, Inverness. Used to be the biggest producer of single malt in the whole of Scotland. Not that anymore, but they were at one point absolutely massive. And this is their 14-year-old that's been finished in port cask. So feel free to pick up the first glass. What I always recommend doing when you're trying Scotch is have a look at the colour. So just hold it up to the light. It's kind of a classic kind of Scotch colour. It's kind of that kind of golden straw kind of colour. But there is a little kind of pinky redness to it. And that comes from the port cask. So they get the port casks from Portugal that have previously aged port. They empty the port out, and then they sell them to Scotland, and we age our Scotch in there. So the next thing to do is have a smell. Feel free to shout out anything you smell. Often people just say whiskey, and there's no wrong answer. For me, I get lots of vanilla. It's very soft, lots of red fruits.
Yeah, it smells a little fruity.
A little bit fruity, yeah. And then when we have a little taste, what I recommend, just take a little sip, hold it in your palate and let it gently go down. So, as I say, we say slàinte, which means good health, so slàinte. So you get that burst of fruit coming through. It's quite peppery, a little bit of white pepper. But generally it's a very, very light, kind of soft, fruity style. Breakfast whiskey, some call it.
Breakfast.
So we also have these little pipettes here. So what I'll do is I'll pop a few drops of water just in your whiskey like this. And now give it a try again and see if you can see. So what should happen now is that initial heat of the alcohol should be much lower, and you should hopefully get more of the kind of soft, fruity flavours.
So you got me sweating here.
Yeah. This should be a little bit better. Whiskey and water are great friends.
Yeah.
Can you taste the difference?
Oh yeah.
A bit softer.
So you go reduce somehow, right?
Yeah, exactly. So whiskey is by law 40% alcohol. However, this is 46%. So what I'm talking about, do you get the strawberries and the fruits? And you're thinking, what is Matt talking about? I'm just getting alcohol, right? So it's all subjective, but adding a little bit of water just softens that. So us as humans, we don't pick up flavour very well at high alcohol. It's very difficult because it's quite overpowering. So we always serve our whiskey with some water on the side, because a little bit of water can just open up your whiskey. It just makes it a bit more approachable. So whiskey number 2. This is from Speyside, so it's a very popular region where a lot of the big distilleries operate. Macallan, Glenfiddich, Glenlivet. Very, very popular. Quite a small area, but very densely populated with lots of distilleries. So we're now going to look at stuff that's been aged in sherry casks. So feel free to pick up the glass and have a look. What you'll see is it's much darker in colour. So that colour all comes from the sherry casks. So 2 types of sherry casks. We have Pedro Ximénez and we have Oloroso. So Pedro Ximénez is the really sweet style sherry that you sometimes pour over your ice cream. So yeah, have a taste. You should get Christmas cake, raisins, dried fruits. It's kind of like it's like a spiced Christmas cake almost.
It smells a little bit like raisins.
Raisins, exactly. So Pedro Ximénez sherry smells and tastes exactly like that. Lots of raisins. This is one of my favourite whiskies. I think value for money, I think flavour, I think it's an excellent
That's
run.
smoother than the previous one.
There you go. Or you're getting warmed up, I don't know. maybe both. So
this is good.
It's good, right? So sherry casks are very, very popular. It's probably the most popular style of Scotch whiskey. The sherry cask and the whiskey marry together very, very nicely, and it's just a great flavour. It's really great. Now, the last one you're going to try comes from the island of Islay. So a small little island off the west coast of Scotland, very famous for one particular style of whiskey, and it's what we call peated or smoky whiskey. So they dry the barley in the whiskey making process by burning peat. So peat is basically condensed earth from the island, and they dig it out the ground and they let it dry, and then they burn it. So it's like a fuel source. People use it to heat their homes and have done for hundreds of years. But when you burn it, it lets off smoke, and that smoke comes up through a floor and dries the grains of barley. So the grains of barley are soaking up that smoke, and that's where the smoky flavour comes from. I always say if you've been at a barbecue or a bonfire and you smell your clothes the next day, they do smell of the smoke, right? So that's what the little grains of barley do, and then we make whiskey. So this is Lagavulin, which is one of the most popular ones. Famous distilleries include Lafroig, Bowmore, but Lagavulin for me is probably one of my favourites on Islay. And this is a special distiller's edition, so it's 16 years old and then spends about 3 to 6 months in sherry casks as well. So feel free to pick it up and have a smell. It's very distinctive, very love or hate, so you might love this, you might hate it, I'm prepared. But yeah, lovely colour. It's so distinctive, right? And
it is.
I am not offended if you don't like it. There just means more for me to drink.
Smoky.
Very smoky, right? Very smoky. People say it's quite medicinal. It's almost like disinfectant almost, which sounds crazy. Why would you want to drink that? But once you get a taste for it, there's no going back.
That's good.
Right?
Tastes good. It's smoky.
It's quite oily, briny. It's like, you can really...
You can definitely, taste this smoke.
Yeah.
In the barbecue throat, yeah. You can.
The finish when I say finish, that what you're describing there, the flavour after you swallow the whiskey, is really long on peated whiskies. It's just why we always leave them to the end, because if you had this one first, you wouldn't be tasting this. Yeah. The smoke lingers, it really does. So which one was your favourite?
This one here.
The Glenallachie.
This one, yeah. This is burning.
Yep.
This one is burning.
Yeah.
This is smooth. This is nice, but too smoky for my taste.
Yeah.
But this one is definitely my favorite.
So breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, definitely. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right?
Yeah. Great.
Okay, Matt. Thank you very much for this presentation, and we appreciate it to learn more about this, and hopefully we can do another.
Absolutely.
We can have another time here to
Absolutely.
talk more about whiskey.
Absolutely. I'll drink to that. Cheers.
This one is my favorite one.
Blanche.
Cheers. Planning a trip to the Cayman Islands could be overwhelming, especially with so many great options to choose from, but hey, you don't have to do it all by yourself. Type Cayman Trips on the comment of this video or contact Cayman Luxury Travel, and our team will be happy to help you out to craft your entire experience from the time you leave home until the day you return. Until then, happy travels.